Today we're going to be removing this old door, 45 years old, and we're going to be replacing it with a Waudena door. We will take you through the process, and we're going to explain to you exactly why we prefer the Waudena door systems and why we went that route, why we believe they're one of the top manufacturers in the country. So follow along. We got to get this thing out of here first. That's our first order of business. You can see all of the staining, sun fade. Obviously the screen door, or the storm door I should say, has seen better days. Now we are wrapped with diamond coat all the way around, and you can see where we terminated. We're going to call that our freeze trim. We've just stopped it there. We want to make sure we're able to remove whatever we need to remove up here and not interfere with our new Waudena door. So we're prepped and ready for that. Let's get to it.
You should be. Yeah, there you go. All right. You got it, or you want help you?
Ooh, I think you're going to have to get one end.
Let me grab this end.
Yep, I think you'll have to.
I got it. Let's go.
Our storm door has been removed, and we lugged the new door around here, and just want to talk for just a second about it. 322 pounds is what the shipping spec sheet said. But one thing that I want to clue you in on just real quick, we're going to go over this whole thing, but one thing that's really noticeable right off the bat that really just impressed us is the jamb. So the jamb is one piece. Now in our neck of the woods, typically when you order a custom depth jamb, and this is custom depth for various reasons, we'll get into that. Typically when you order a custom depth jamb, you're going to get a 5.5 inch piece of stock with whatever the rest happens to be attached to that. So you're going to have a seam all the way, the length of the jamb all the way around. Doesn't matter if it shows up back here, but it almost always shows up on the front end. And you know, over time in one way or the other. So that's just one way I feel like Waudena is kind of setting themselves apart from other manufacturers. You do have finger joints in the jamb, which doesn't bother me a bit. That's to be expected. But you don't have one large joint or seam running the length of the jamb. And that just, I love the continuity. I love that there's one full piece all the way around. So also want to talk about the packaging. This thing had to come all the way from Wisconsin to get to Arkansas, and it is in pristine condition. So, and this is they call this on their spec sheet standard no charge packaging. So how cool is that? Their standard is to arrive in perfect condition all the way from Wisconsin. I love that. All right, let's we got to get this door out of here. Okay. All right. Set. Look at that.
Somebody missed cutting.
Yep. So you kind of see how that jamb was designed. Kind of unique, isn't it?
Back in the day.
Don't see that every day. We don't anyways. Interestingly enough, it's amazing after 45 years, that sill, along with the bottom of the jamb still in great shape, And there's a big reason for that. About a 4-foot overhang. That will save your door. All right, so our concrete is nice and dry now. That was the best way to attack that scenario, we think. Now we have one nice, straight, flush, level surface, and we can continue with our exterior door installation. So just a little snag, not a big deal. We are trying to beat the rain today. We supposedly have rain coming, strong storms at 10 o'clock this morning, and it's like 7:30 now. So that doesn't give us a lot of time, but we're gonna cross our fingers. We're gonna do the best job we can and try to get this thing installed. All right.
Grab that piece of plastic down there. That thing's just bugging me. Inside. Just tear it out or whatever.
So we ran into a slight snag. It's not a huge deal, but this is an extremely unique situation. We've ordered this door custom width jamb, which is super nice. It's 8 3/8. So the outside of our jamb is going to land just past or just right even with this caulk joint, which means once we put our trim in, it's going to hide this ugly sealant, which is great. But inside, we're going to hang over this jack stud a full inch. Why are we doing that? Because 1/2 inch is going to be for drywall and the other 1/2 inch is going to be for structural sheeting. This room does not have structural sheeting on the outside. So whoever built this, they must not have known at the time to put structural sheeting on the walls, which it's been fine. It's been here for 50 years. But the point is, while we've got bare studs, we're going to put structural sheeting in here. So that's going to bring us out another 1/2 inch. We're going to take that opportunity to put structural sheeting. And you can see what they've got here. They've got just this 1-inch foam, and that's what they're calling their structural sheeting. Now, they might have some in the corners, but we want to beef it up a little bit more while we have the opportunity. So that being said, our jamb is going to hang 1 inch past this framing member. And so we have nothing really to attach these T-nuts to. These are T-nuts, and this is a really nice feature from Waudena because you can back these out at all the hinge locations and on the other side, and you can center that jamb or frame in the hole. So that's a super nice feature that unfortunately, because of this extremely unique situation we're in, we're not going to be able to use those. So just keep that in mind. Instead of using those, we're going to be using these as well as our fastening system. And this is really going to help us to move that jamb in and out regardless of those T-nuts. It would have been nice to have had them. It's a nice feature. But because of the uniqueness of this, we're going to use these. These are Top Stars from U2 Fasteners, and they have this, I don't know what you call it, spinning collar, this free-floating collar. So once you drive the fastener into the jamb, or the framing member, this collar stays in the jamb of the door, and you're able to move the jamb in and out with the twist of the screw. So it works very well. I'll show you where we're going to land here. So notice the 2-inch mark, right about even with that nail. That's where we're at right here, about the 2-inch mark. So to start, we need to drill a 5/16 hole, 3 of them, on both sides of the jamb so that we can fasten these Top Stars in. So that's what we're going to do right now. Nice and easy. All right, so I've got to put some sealant underneath the threshold. This is a big deal for us. We don't want vermin or pests coming in underneath that threshold, or especially moisture intrusion. A lot of guys like to use those aluminum seals or a stainless steel pan, whatever. We like Lexel, that's what we like. All right, going back. So I'm specifically putting a bead where the bottom of the threshold is nice and flat. That'll help seal. And then I also go up the sides of the jamb about an inch or two on both sides. I want it to squirt out. So I've got one bead. I'm going to go ahead and put a second bead towards the exterior. There we go.
Okay, good.
That's perfect. Okay, very nice.
Very good.
Now that we've got all of our U2 fastener top stars in, we can adjust that frame wherever we want it. We've got tons of adjustability here. So what happens is I have to take the sleeve off of this bit, and there's my adjustment right there. This is like a T15. So this will slip in the insert of the screw, and the collar that's around the screw stays in the jamb, but the screw itself moves in and out so you can adjust the jamb. A really, really unique system, works very well. Okay, so he wants me to bring this jamb out a little bit. So all I have to do is just micro tune it here. So I'll put my finger or my thumb between the jamb and the framing, that way I can feel it. So I just brought it out like 1/16, something like that. You can sit there and micro adjust it. Bottom needs to come out just a hair? Okay. So once again, I like the feel of it, that way I know I'm not going too far. There we go. That's about a 1/16, something like that. It's a good looking handle set, isn't it? There we go.
Very good.
All right, there's that piece. So this is just a little chunk that you slip in here, little catch. I don't know what you call it, technical term for it. Okay, so I think the takeaway from this 3-point latch system that I've learned, this is our first, it's not as complicated as I expected. It's actually not much more complicated than a standard door set, really, because Waudena does all the work for you by mortising this entire system into the door. All you have to do is put the doorknobs on, the handle set, and it's really a piece of cake. Ah, okay. Man. Okay, so does just this one come out, or do all three?
All three.
Let's see this one. Oh, okay, nice. So you truly have a 3-point latch, and you've got a 3-point deadbolt as well, essentially. There you go, you're locked. Now, ain't that cool? Man. Works extremely well, doesn't it? That is cool. Okay, so the one thing that's really nice about this 3-point latch system is you're able to adjust each individual strike catch individually, which gives you a lot of flexibility to help the door. Go ahead, you can close it. It helps the door maintain a consistent seal against that weather stripping. So we want that door pressed nice and tight all the way along the edge of the jamb there. And you don't get that with other door systems with just a single latch. But because of the way this one's designed, we can individually move each strike adjustment in or out so that the door closes and catches really nice and presses firmly against this weather strip, which is going to save you, dirty, nasty air infiltration from the exterior. We don't want that in our house. We want as tight of an air seal, especially on our doors, as possible. And with this 3-point mechanism, that's what you get. wanted to show you how we're trimming this out. Initially, we had started trimming it like any other door with kind of a brick mold style that dies into the brick veneer here, but we quickly found out that even though our door is perfectly plumb, the opening was really bad out of plumb. Specifically the bricks, but even the frame inside. So that was looking really wonky to have a really wide piece at the bottom and really skinny at the top, and vice versa on the other side. So what we opted to do was just to extend the jamb with some diamond coat, which will match our casing or brick mold, and that's just going to lap right on around, and we think that's going to be the best choice of action for this particular situation we're in. Now, this is a custom size jamb, and had we known that before, we could have ordered that from Waudena, the correct depth, but there's just too many variables when you're in a retrofit situation like this. So we're doing the best we can with what we have, and I think it's going to turn out really nice. But I just wanted to show you that. We did fasten these jambs with some finish screws, this diamond coat finish screws into the Waudena jamb, and then we're just using a finish nailer to nail on this casing or brick mold right here. Well, our Waudena door has now been installed and it's looking good. We had to make some changes to the way we trimmed it out, but I think it turned out really nice. That diamond coat incorporated nicely in with the door. So, a couple of features about the door that I haven't shown yet. How about this articulating sill? So this comes on the Waudena doors, and this is one of my favorite features. This sill, or threshold, whatever you want to call it, is articulating. So when you close the door, the wind's blowing right now, when you close the door, because this always has tension on it, it's pushing up against the bottom of the door, further air sealing it. Now, along with that wonderful threshold that they provide you with, they also provide you with a really nice, more of a reinforced door sweep. So this door sweep on the bottom of the door. Have you ever seen a door that had those like rubber sweeps that, I don't know, they kind of tear off and they drag across the floor and they look terrible and they never really seal very good? You won't have that with a Waudena door because they have this updated, or upgraded, I should say, door sweep. So the threshold is really nice. Now, one other thing that I want to share with you that kind of makes the Waudena difference, why we like Waudena, the stain has a better fade resistance than most doors. Now, this is what Waudena told me. They told me that they're kind of trying to replicate what Diamond Coat is doing with their siding. So we know that with Diamond Coat, you get that 30-year no fade warranty. With Waudena, they're using a similar pigment in their stains. So with Diamond Coat, they're using natural pigments instead of synthetic like everyone else. And that's where they get that, that's part of the process where they get that fade resistance, is what I'm told. Waudena is doing the same thing with their stains. So their stains for like this door, I believe he told me it was a 10-year warranty, my rep. 10-year warranty on this stain against fading. To me, that's pretty good, especially since that direction faces the west. So we wanted something with better fade resistance. Another thing that I want to draw your attention to is this bezel around the window. This is a very special bezel. I'll take you inside and show you why. How many times have you seen, here, let me turn the light on. Okay. How many times have you seen this bezel or surround have plugs, those little plugs in it? They're total pain. They look terrible and they're a pain. This is a plugless, caulkless bezel that goes around this glass, that holds this glass into place. So you're not going to have that oozing sealant or caulk or glazing coming out from around this over time. Same on the outside. You're not going to have that sealant oozing out. No drips, no plugs, just a nice clean system. Okay, one more feature that we have failed to show because we didn't really need it on this one, the hinges. The hinges are fully adjustable, and we need to put some more fasteners in there, but the hinges are fully adjustable in the fact that you can ease these screws out and then you can adjust the hinge up, down, left, right, just enough to make it seal better against this weather stripping. So I'll close the door. Have you ever seen a door where it's a little bit bowed from the factory, where it's sticking proud of the jamb a little bit at the bottom, at the top, or maybe it's the opposite way. Maybe it's sticking too far in. With this hinge system, you don't have to worry about that. You can back those screws out and you can adjust the door just enough to make that nice and flush with the jamb. So that is another huge deal. And you can see they've got this machined recessed adapter plate, whatever, that allows that to happen. So there's a articulating or a movable hinge plate behind this where all 4 of these screws will move in and out a little bit. So that's another advantage of a Waudena door. They offer that system and we went with it. And you never know, we might have to play with that a little bit as time goes on. If something shifts, we know lumber expands and contracts, things can happen. So it's nice to have adjustability if we ever need it, but it's super nice to have it in certain circumstances where maybe the frame is cattywampus a little bit or not plumb at all, and you have to adjust in that area. I love the way that diamond coat incorporated into it. Love the glass, just all of it. Everything about it just looks fantastic. If you haven't tried a Waudena door, I can tell you our experience with them has been phenomenal. We will be using them again. This is not your standard entry door. Appreciate you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below if you like the door. We appreciate it.